The useful life, according to bond law, for a building is 30 years. So that's how that would go. It's difficult to predict interest rates for when this would become permanently financed. We've had interest rates over the past 4 years as low as, I think, 2.3% under permanent financing and as high as 3.5% under permanent financing. But first, they would go out as what's called one-year notes, and then they would ultimately be converted at a certain point into permanent financing. Generally, on capital improvements, they are financed over time per the bond law of what you're allowed to finance it for, which allows people to pay for it over time. Since, like a bridge, you benefit from it over time as well. Moving on to 020, and
so you can't estimate what the total cost would be, including the interest at this time.
I would just say, Council President, I don't know what the exact interest rate will be. So, but it'll clearly be, I'd have to run it. I don't have it in front of me, but at the lowest one, we could certainly run that.
Understood.
Sorry. Moving on to trying to answer the rest of the questions on 020. These are all part of Water Quality Accountability Act programs. The reason why the numbers are similar is because it's a self-liquidating authority. Some of the items we're going to be doing in this project will be the Applegarth tank, painting and fixing up and sandblasting. That's the tank up on the south end of town by Route 33 at the top of the hill by Joan Warren Way. We'll be renovating that like we did the tank on Half Acre Road. We'll be doing some improvements to Well 21, which will be in coordination with the Water Quality Accountability Act. We'll be replacing a 1993 jet vac pump truck that has over 50,000 hours on it, and that's a pretty significant price. I think that's almost $650,000 for one of those jet vac trucks. And the items are listed in general inside the ordinance there. Moving on to various capital improvements for the township. It's kind of an exhaustive list. I should also mention, you asked what the length of that would be. So on Ordinance 20, the length of those bonds would be 13.04, which is an average bond life of all the items that are included in it as approved by bond counsel. Sorry to go back to 20. 21, the average life would be about 8.6 years on that one, and that includes everything from an ambulance, and this is in there, to different EMS and police vehicles, to a variety of DPW equipment, drainage work, municipal improvements, guide rails, and as well as in there is a DOT, mostly DOT funded local aid grant project that we got to pave Lynx Drive over in the Forest Gate area over there as well. So that hopefully, and then 183, sorry, I'm going as quick as I can here. 183, this is a replacement of a 2022 car that was in an accident and was totaled. We received $30,000 from the insurance payment. This is a new vehicle. I asked the exact same question as well. When we went out to bid, we wanted to be able to get anything that was on the lot because it's kind of hard to get vehicles at this point. So we went out to bid for a 23 or 24. We're able to get the 23, and if this is approved, it will be a new vehicle with, less than 20 miles on it or something.
Thank you.
Like that.
Anyone else? Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address us? Dr. Prakash, please come forward. Your name and address for our records, please.
Thank you very much, President. Prakash Parab from 33 Lena Drive. Ordinance 08-2024-019. I understand that we are issuing a bond for $1,397,000 and odd, and we have received a grant of $1,457,000 from the Middlesex County, and $69,000 we are going to use from Open Space Trust. I understand James Monroe Park is a privately owned foundation. So we are going to acquire the indoor facility and do the improvement. That is true? No. Okay. Then explain to me later. So I'll allow that because I wanted to get clarification on that. I'm full support of this ordinance, by the way. What my request is, this is a good opportunity. We are doing it in the southeast part of the Monroe. So this is very good. So it is, I want to get clarity. Already I said what we are doing to do. Already we are planning in master plan to have 3 cricket fields in south side in future 2 or 3 years, whatever. And there is 60 acres land, what I have seen. And similar type of request is similar type of state or county the grants we should get, then matching, to have that not only cricket fields and surrounding in that ground, we can have a track for the people to walk, bicycle track, and surround a recreation facility and future recreation center. So I request, I'm very proud that you are getting money from the Middlesex County and funding, also issuing a bond to have this facility which children will be using. So my question is, I thought it's a private foundation, so please clarify what it is and how we acquired and all that. Thank you.
No, James Monroe Park is a township park.
Okay.
So we're not acquiring anything. We're just constructing a facility in the park.
Yeah, because it read that acquisition of James Monroe Park.
No, it doesn't say. I think you might have read an earlier version. The ordinance that introduced does not deal with acquisition.
Because that's what I read. That's what I read
you.
on the ordinance. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, please. 3 and then 4. Your name,
Double injury.
name and address for our records, please.
Lucille Panos, 1208C, Lindera Plaza. 24019. I too also have questions, and I'm actually hoping that you guys table this, because to say it's for a baseball facility, or not completely, it could be for this, it could be for that. Did you ever do any analytics or on what the most up and coming sport is in, especially in Monroe? If you didn't do your homework, there's going to be another change order down the road, because I would have asked all these kids here, what's your favorite sport? I guarantee it would have been soccer. So I certainly question spending all this money, and why would you do it? And why would you not hold off? Have you done any studies on what the most popular sports are? On 24183, tisk, that's all I have to say on that one. And 192, what? Oh, wait, on the 190, on the sports thing, I also hear that other towns will be joining this if possible. You know, maybe their sports teams, so they can be paying the township to use that facility. Well, who's getting that money? And if Monroe uses it, since they're paying with their tax dollar, will they get a discount or get it free? So I don't know if you know all those things, and I appreciate the answer from the business administrator, but I would hope the people voting on that could give an answer to that, because this is really a lot of money, and I foresee change orders down the road. Talking about change orders, 192 and 193, we have a change order. Isn't there an old saying, what do your RFPs look like? There's a saying, measure twice and cut once. When you put out a bid, don't you take in all aspects of it? Why is there a change order, especially $35,000, $221,000 change order? Guys, get it done the first time. Get it done right the first time. These change orders are killing the taxpayer. Thank you. Oh, no, wait. I'll wait for the answer. What about the 183? The facility for whatever sport you think is popular.
I think it's one
Is the car. We didn't want the
On
car.
119, rather. Sorry,
It's okay.
sorry, Councilman. I don't want to put you on the
So
spot.
if I could, Council President.
119.
019.
019.
019.
I
Mr.
could
Resimo?
start on that if
Oh, if he's starting on that.
I'll start on it, then I'll turn it over to
Okay.
Mark. So obviously, as you know, we did the master plan, and there's been a long time request to do some indoor practice facilities, particularly near the baseball fields, and certainly a lot of push to do more stuff in the southern end of the town, as you heard. And as you may know, we've been trying to advance these projects with grants. So the mayor has directed the administration to move all these projects forward as best we can with grants. We came before this board on the community garden, which is like a $2.4 million playground bathroom project. We got $1.2 million from from Green Acres grants, which was one of the first times we did that. We're looking at pickleball we'll be moving forward on shortly. We got a $65,000 grant to jumpstart some additional courts over by the senior center. And this is an opportunity to get, as you mentioned, about a $1.45 million grant to do some indoor recreation facility in that area. The primary beneficiary would obviously be baseball and softball because there would be batting cages and pitching channels, but it would always be used by someone within Monroe, and it would be treated like any municipal facility that we use primarily for our residents, as we do now for all of our fields, whether it be the turf field, the James Monroe Park fields. And Council President, I turn over to Mark. I don't know if there's anything he wants to add to that.
Yes, Mr. Razumowitz, please.
Thank you. Our recreation center is one of the best in the county. This building would be operated under our recreation department, and similar to how they operate their other buildings as well. With regard to Resolution R8 2024-192. It's a change order for a road project. It's change order number 1 and final. It comes to about 5% of the project. What it was there was additional work on the existing storm pipe and inlets out there, so it was additional quantities of the items that we already had. And with regard to Resolution 193, that's a change order for our police department. It increases the project about 3.8%. The bulk of that money was to take down the existing cell tower that was there. Everyone recalls, actually, it wasn't even a cell tower, it was a radio tower. So the bulk of that money was to take that tower down. We were getting quotes for it prior to the start of this construction. We received, I believe, 2 or 3 quotes, and then we got a quote from the contractor for this project. His price was the best price, and we went with this contractor, and that became a change order as opposed to a separate contract to take down
It should have been included in the original RFP. Okay, so if you knew the building was there, it's going to come down, that should have been part of the cost. And as far as grants, those are nice buzzwords. However, this grant is coming for the county. And as we all know, our county taxes went up. So you could do that buzzword, we got a grant. And I say, that doesn't fly anymore. Just do your due diligence beforehand. Soccer is the up and coming sport. Please don't, next year, God willing, I'm back here. And I got to see a change order for this project. For a change order because we need soccer or we need pickleball or we need something else. That's my opinion.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to address us, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public comment section.
Motion.
Aye.
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Therefore, we close the public comment section, and I would like to ask for a motion to close the agenda session, please.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilman Markel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes, meeting is adjourned. Agenda meeting is adjourned, and the time on that is
7:09.
very good. We are going to call the regular meeting of the Monroe Township Council to order. Motion, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilman Markel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the payments of the claims per the run date of August 1st, 2024?
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilman Markel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes, may I have a
Motion
motion
carries.
to approve the minutes of the following meetings as written and presented? The June 26, 2024 meetings, agenda and regular combined meeting. Motion, please.
Motion approved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilman Markel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Ordinances for second reading. 06-2024-012. Ordinance authorizing the Township of Monroe to acquire a storm sewer management easement over property located at Remington Avenue, known as Block 13-01, part of lots 4 and 5 on the Township of Monroe tax map. Parenthetical on that is Stratford. Public hearing, may I have a motion to open it?
Motion.
Thank you. A second on that motion, please.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Anyone wishing to address the council on this ordinance only, please come forward now, giving us your name and address for the record. Seeing and hearing none, I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance.
Motion.
Thank you. A second on that.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 06-2024-012, please?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second
Second.
on that? Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Ordinance 06-2024-013. The ordinance that, Mr. Van Zora, you have a motion to make regarding this ordinance, please.
Yes, Your Honor. With respect to 2024-013, I would make a motion to have this ordinance withdrawn from our agenda for this evening.
Thank you. May I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. We need to take a roll call vote on that.
Council President.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I just want to make it clear that by withdrawing this, what you're actually doing is defeating the ordinance. So a yes vote would be to defeat the ordinance. And I just didn't want anybody to think that it could be withdrawn and then brought back on second reading, as the councilman said in
Thank
his
you.
opening statement. You're welcome.
Call for the vote, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Look, we all voted and everything. Next is ordinance 06-2024-014. It's an ordinance of the Monroe Township Council repealing Chapter 78 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Personnel Policies and Procedures. May I have a motion to open a public hearing on this, please?
Motion.
Thank you. A second on that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wishing to address the council on this ordinance, please come forward now.
Michelle Arminio, 9 Nathaniel Street. Is this the Chapter 78 that has to do with employee contributions to healthcare?
No.
No.
That's the salary ordinance.
That's the salary ordinance.
In the salary ordinance, I
Okay,
believe.
and just, I'm sorry, I am unaware of this one. Can you just briefly give us
Sure.
what it is?
So this chapter contains all of the personnel policies for the township, but there is a personnel policy manual that we have that is a document that is amended frequently during the course of the year. We get recommendations from our GIF or recommendations from our attorneys or our risk managers. So we're constantly, and our HR department is constantly updating our personnel policies. In this form of government, it doesn't belong in the ordinance because all of those policies are established by the mayor. So we're just taking this ordinance out because it's not in keeping with what our personnel policies are, and B, it's the mayor's authority to establish these policies for our employees.
So the entire chapter, the 78, that has to do with personnel policies and procedures is gone.
Correct. And there is parallel to this that you don't see here. There is a personnel policy manual that we have that has all the rules and regulations for our employees, probably much like the board does.
Personnel policy manual,
Yes, ma'am.
and that would be, the public would be able to
Of
avail
course.
themselves
Yes,
of
it's
that.
a public document. Our HR department has it.
Sure.
So all the procedures in 78 are gone as well.
Correct. They're all in our policy. They're not gone. They're in the manual.
So a manual just tends to be something that identifies things. A policy, an ordinance tends to codify things.
That's not true.
Okay,
So
good.
our policies are enforceable policies. You know, we have racial discrimination policy, anti-harassment policy, you know, much like every employer has. FMLA policies. All of those policies are rules and regulations that are enforceable as to our employees because they're actually enacted by an executive order by the mayor. So they don't need to be done. None of them need to be adopted by ordinance.
So the language in the policies, in the manual, are as strong and enforceable as would be in an
In
ordinance?
some respects, they're stronger because we update them as we go along. You know, our joint insurance fund, for instance, every year provides us with a list, requires me to certify that our policy manual says certain things in it. So we update those policies.
And when you update it, do you bring it to the council for a vote? Nothing?
No, it doesn't have to go to council. It's done by the mayor, but the council is advised of it.
So the public isn't aware when these changes come about?
Well, they're
As if
internal
this-
policies as to our employees, so you would only be aware if you ask for a copy of our policies. These are internal employee policies. These are not policies that affect the public. They're internal employee.
Well, everything affects the public.
Of course, but you understand what I'm saying. It doesn't.
Yeah,
that
but an
doesn't-
ordinance is
It
something
doesn't change or
codified.
bind you one way or the other. It's the policies that our employees have to.
And the manual then is not a static,
It's not.
it changes all the time then?
It does, because we have to keep up with, the state passes new laws, we have to put it in our policy manuals. We react to court decisions that sometimes change things. You understand this because you.
I do, but sometimes that sounds like it could be arbitrary
No,
And-
it's far from arbitrary.
and subjective. If one person, no offense, Mayor, I'm just talking about the position. If one person can change these things on a regular basis.
Well, that's the function of a government that has an executive, right? Whose responsibility is all personnel policy, all things personnel, right?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to address us on this ordinance, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, I'm asking for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second on that, please.
Second.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 06, 2024-014, please?
So moved.
Thank you. A second on that.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Would the clerk please read the ordinance for introduction?
Ordinance 08-2024-015. Ordinance amending Chapter 39 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Fees.
May I have a motion to introduce that ordinance, please?
Motion.
Thank you. A second on that.
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 08-2024-016. Ordinance amending the Code of the Township of Monroe, Section 108-5.27, entitled Stormwater Management.
Motion, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Second on that.
Second.
Thank you. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora. Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 08-2024-017. Ordinance of the Township of Monroe, County of Middlesex, and State of New Jersey, establishing a mid-block crosswalk on Applegarth Road, County Route 619, Township of Monroe, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 08-2024-018. Ordinance amending Chapter 35 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Drug-Free Zones.
Motion.
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 08-2024-019, bond ordinance providing for facility improvement on township open space property in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $2,925,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,397,600 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second on that, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Council President, I had a few questions on this. Thank you. So, I read through this and I noticed it's specific, the bond is specific to a property, which is James Monroe Park. Because we received an email today from a resident in reference to, the location, and there were some questions about if money's being paid by the taxpayers and then money being paid by the parents or grandparents for the children to play at these facilities, who's going to be receiving the money and who's going to be collecting the money? Would it be collected to the association if it's a baseball, softball, or another sport? Or would it be payable to the township? And I know with the master plan, we talked about southern part of our town with recreation. So if we can obtain this grant of like I'll call it 1.5 million rounded off, with 69,000 coming from open space, and we're going to match it with another bond for 30 years. Taxpayers are paying either way. Why can't we have this park or this building in a different part of the town? Why does it have to be in James Monroe Park when James Monroe Park, which I did a lot of work over there, I built a few of those fields over the years, and I also did the concession stand and the baseball building in the beginning at the entrance there. That came from Concordia. When Concordia got built, that ranch was moved from Concordia all the way to James Monroe Park. The little building on the right. So trees are going to have to come down. I know we're saying open space, but in order to build this facility, trees are going to have to come down. And we have limited parking there now. The property is surrounded by wetlands, so there's no really future growth that can be done. So my question would be, why does this bond have to be specifically to James Monroe Park?
Mr. Warrenberg, do you have a
Happy to take
comment
that.
regarding that, please?
So this is something that, Monroe Baseball has certainly taken the lead on. Monroe Softball, I believe, is involved and aware as well. Generally, when we make enhancements, we do them within our existing parks. Obviously, as you know, when James Monroe Park was built, it was created in the same circumstance as well. So this will be about an 80 by 90 foot building. So it won't be quite nearly as big as the park itself. And this is what, those programs want. We would treat this like we treat any other facility, whether it be the soccer turf field, whether it be the Avenue K Park. Our residents pretty much exclusively would use it. And that's basically how it would move forward. If you have a different location than what baseball is suggesting, you're welcome to put that out there. We did hear a lot about trying to put stuff on the southern side of the town. We did get this proposal, from Monroe Baseball, and the county did express an interest in being supportive of it. So, but I'm sure the council and others would be welcome to
My
have
suggestion
discussions.
would be it doesn't be land specific, because we did talk about acquisition, and I have a copy here that still says acquisition. Maybe it's an old copy. But overall, when it says open space, just for an example, some of our residents wrote to us, some of them already came up, made comments about, there are other open space tracts of land on Applegarth Road, Old Church Road, and there's many other parcels that we can take a $3 million expense and put it in a more strategic place for all our residents, and for many sports. So I would make a suggestion that we table this in the sense of the location. If we can remove James Monroe Park for this bond, that we're going to be spending approximately $1.5 million. In the way I read it, Section 6D, 495,000 not to exceed. I assume that's soft cost.
That is, Council President? Yeah, that is soft costs.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have to design it.
So I would say my suggestion would be that we don't make it specifically to one property. And I would make a motion. I know we have a motion on the table.
We have a motion on the table.
Right.
Yes.
So, but that was my comment.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Esmos, did I?
Council President, I would just add, we've looked at parks throughout the township. We have concept plans through the master plan where we looked at other properties in town, and we have conceptual designs of recreation facilities at all those lands. I believe there was 5 or 6 parcels that we had proposed through the master plan. I think this is an ideal location for it. And this is where your baseball facility is. It's sort of like our soccer complex. You don't want to start splitting it up. This is where they have the tournaments. This is the ideal location.
I disagree in the sense that we're better off with an all-purpose building than specific baseball or softball, as you said before. It could be used for many sports, and we have nothing on that side of the town. So to put $3 million in a baseball location, like I said before, I built the fields many times over there, and I did a lot of work there, including the parking lot. And there's no space for additional. If this is going to be used in the winter, that's one thing. But if you're going to use it during fall ball, or you're going to use it during the spring when everybody's playing, you're not going to have parking. So that's the part that I would request that we find a different location.
Madam Council President,
Yes,
if I may
please, Mr.
add
Mayor.
some
Thank you.
words to the discussion. Again, I don't vote on it, but however, historically speaking, Councilman DePiero, thank you for all the work that you've done down in the park. My perspective in regards to the history certainly doesn't go back as far as you, but being president of the Baseball League now, over 20 years ago, this was an ask that was put in over 20 years ago. And it has morphed over the years. Baseball has reached out to, and they've done it the right way. They reached out to the rec department. They've discussed it at the rec advisory board. And they came to us in regards to it's not going to be a baseball-only facility. It is a facility that certainly will lean heavy towards softball and baseball, but obviously it's going to be a facility for all recreational uses. And again, Mark mentioned about our rec department being a crack department. They will manage it. So they will manage the usage of it. It is James Monroe Park is a park. It is an open park for everybody. The fields, obviously, if they're not used for baseball, can be used for pickup games. It's going to be the same thing like any other type of recreational facility here in Monroe Township. And lastly, it is anticipated that it will be used, 365 days a year. So it will be, it's not just the summertime, it will be throughout the winter as well. And I think that's the essence of what the building is for. So just
Thank you, Mr.
so
Mayor. Appreciate
couple
your
thoughts.
comments. Thank you. Anyone else on the council have any comment they want to make?
The last thing I just wanted to say, add on to what our mayor said, was baseball is declining in numbers, and we are reaching out to other communities to make baseball a continued sport. As when I started baseball here as a youngster, we used to go to Jamesburg. There was never a Monroe Baseball Association or team, and we had to go to Jamesburg. So now we're going to Millstone and we're going to surrounding towns to try to fulfill baseball and continue the sport here in Monroe Township. That's why the question that I ask is, the money that's going to be coming in for this sport, who's going to be receiving this money? Is it going to go to the township directly? Is it going to go to the associations of whatever sports they are? And where's the money going to come? If a resident comes from Millstone, are they going to pay the Township of Monroe for their child to use this facility?
Mr. Warrenberg.
I mean, I'll try and get more clarification from Mary Lang, but my expectation is it would be no different than Monroe soccer, Monroe softball, Monroe baseball, Wolverines, Monroe lacrosse. Some of them have rec teams, some of them have travel teams. The priority in rec is obviously it's all our kids. Travel is generally, focused on Monroe as well. So I don't think it would really be any different than any of those other programs that have resources and locations all across the town. When we did the turf field for Monroe soccer. So
Thank you.
It's ordinance 19? Yes. Okay, folks, we're going to call for a roll call vote on 08-2024-019. There is an existing motion on the floor. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman DePiero.
No.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
You ready?
Yep. Ordinance 08-2024-020. Bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the water sewer utility in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $4,995,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4,995,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Thank you. Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 08-2024-021. Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $4,224,400 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,523,300 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 08-2024-022. An ordinance authorizing the Township of Monroe to acquire a right-of-way dedication over property at 45 Lower Matchaponix Road, known as Block 68, Lot 41.29, a 10-foot wide street tree easement at 43, 45, and 47 Lower Matchaponix Road, known as Block 68, Lots 41.34, 41.35, 41.36, and a conservation easement at 43, 45, and 47 Lower Matchaponix Road, known as Block 68, Lots 41, 34, 41.35, 41.36 on the Township of Monroe tax map.
May I have a motion on that, please?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Councilman DePiero.
Abstain.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 08-2024-023, an ordinance authorizing the Township of Monroe to acquire a 10-foot wide tree easement on 38 Avenue I and 40 Avenue I, known as Block 123, lots 11.01 and 14.01 on the Township of Monroe tax map.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We move to the resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda. R8 2024-179 through R8 2024-194, absenting the following, please.
Also, I just want to add, we're adding resolution R8 2024-195, which will, which will delay the tax mailing until August 23rd.
Delay the grace period.
Grace period. I apologize. So R8 2024-179 through R8 2024-195, excluding 184, Resolution 184, 185, and 192, which will be voted on separately.
Very good.
Okay, Council President, I have a question on the R8 2024-193.
Yes.
When you look at the change order, you look at the breakdown, the demolition of the tower was $53,000. Over excavation of material in the parking lot was $10,200. And then you look at a lot of the change orders, conduit and wire for an electric gate, $40,000. To put in conduit in the ground and I guess wire, I don't know what, it doesn't give us the lengths in the change order or the distance. Also, install spare conduit for a tower, $35,923. Again, it's lack of distance of how much footage this is. Install conduit to anticipated cameras, $36,345. Again, doesn't give us any distance or size of conduit or anything or depth. Relocate gas meter, modify the pipe, $12,000. Lower existing conduit, install transfer barrier. I mean, the numbers are here as far as for dollars and cents, but it doesn't specifically
Councilman,
say.
you are requesting further specification around the dollars and cents of the numbers of the items.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
so I'm not comfortable with
Out knowing-
just dollars amounts. I know you guys say it's 5% of the contract, or it's 3%, or it's the first change order, but the change order is not specifically enough to fill in the dollars and cents.
Mr. Razumowitz, can you provide the documentation for that, please?
Council President, Alimo Group is the project engineer. They have provided all this backup documentation for each of these items in detail. It was quite lengthy. And these were the summarized items that they called it. Certainly we have that. I can provide all that to the council. It's not a problem.
Also, scrap metal's up 9 cents a pound, which is $180 a ton.
Correct.
Okay, they pay by cash. They don't write checks. So where did the scrap metal, was this tower our tower? Who owned the tower? Did we get a credit for the scrap metal? I mean, none of that's on this change order.
Well, it would not.
Council President, again, Alimo Group, who's handling the project engineering, they have all that backup documentation for this. I have also reviewed it as well as what they provided, and I concurred with it and attached my letter to this recommending these change orders as well.
Your engineering PE license, and you are satisfied with what the documentation was and what it entails for this project?
Yes, and as far as some of these requested items, these are additional items that came up out there as far as some conduit, adding additional conduit, but that item, there's more detail provided to that. So I understand what the councilman's saying when he's looking at at the cost. The description is quite short.
Right.
I assure you
But
it's
the
quite
backup
lengthy
data all exists. It is not does not need to be in the
Doesn't- yes,
resolution.
10 feet or
And you
100
can certainly look at it, sir?
Again, I can provide all that backup documentation. I have received all that from the Alimo Group. But again, the description was very short. So when you're just looking at it,
As its
it looks
resolution, you don't
like
know,
it's out of
definitely know that
alignment.
all of this
Right.
documentation is behind it.
So
Yes.
when
It is
will
not absent.
when will we get that documentation?
You can get it. We
I can provide it
to you
tomorrow.
and to any other council member who wishes to view that as well, certainly. That is not a problem.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you. I lost my place. So we are taking a motion,
Yes.
please, for the resolutions accepting.
Resolutions R8 2024-179 through R8 2024-195, with the exceptions of Resolution 184, 185, 192, which will be considered separately.
Very good. May I have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Thank you. A second on that motion, please.
Second.
May I have a roll call vote on that?
Councilman DePiero,
No,
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We will then move to the resolution that was accepted. Please.
Resolutions removed from the consent agenda is R8 2024 184, 185, and 192.
Motion, please.
So moved, Chair.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
The clerk call the roll.
Councilman DePiero.
Abstain.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I should put my glasses back. I see much better. We'd like to move to our reports, please. We will begin with Mr. Weinberg's Administrator's Report.
Thank you very much, Council President. I'll be somewhat brief. Just a few quick comments. One, just wanted to mention to everyone that the shared services agreement for the community access channels are back up and running in partnership with the Board of Education. Thanks to Stacy, Kyle, and all the Board of Ed staff, and for that shared services agreement and getting it done. So that means it's up on Verizon and it's up on Comcast. It's also up on YouTube, but it's certainly back to the way it was in terms of being able to watch it on those and having programming on that. Just as a reminder, because I know Joe mentioned this at the last meeting, the normal irrigation is back in place. I know we had a hiccup during the heat wave in terms of a few communities where we provide irrigation and had to limit that. That is now up and running, so certainly more than appreciate everyone's patience. I know it was difficult. Also want to thank the entire team that helped put together the July 4th fireworks. Certainly not an easy task, so special thank you to the Rec Department and all the departments that contributed. A special thanks to Jamesburg and Middlesex County because it takes a team effort. And I'm glad it was another success. And then finally, just a special thank you to the Rec Camp and the Rec Camp counselors, whether it be at Mount SEPA or Rec Camp. It was a hot July. It's a hard job managing kids, particularly when you're young, and they do such an amazing job. So I just wanted to give a special thanks to all the counselors who were out and doing that all summer. So that's my report, Council President.
Thank you very much. Mr. Asmo, it's been a busy
Thank you,
month
Council
here.
President. Again, I'll be brief as well. As far as a status report on a couple of projects that have moved forward since the last meeting, the Applegarth Joan Warren Way traffic signal. The signal is complete. However, for a period of time, the signal heads will stay covered with the bag. And then after about a month, then the bag is removed. It'll go on a flashing signal before it's actually turned on. These are all requirements from Middlesex County and NJDOT. The 2024 road paving program is underway. We have completed about 3 roads already with paving. They are working on concrete work on Forest Park Terrace. They're milling out in Alcolt area, and that'll continue through the month of August, and looking to complete that as soon as we can while we have the warm weather. That's my report.
Thank you very much. I'd like to move to some of the council reports now. Councilwoman Siegel. Back
you,
from vacation you were.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. I have a couple brief updates. I just want to share our Historic Preservation Commission is still having their open houses. Yesterday was another one at Dye Farm, and the guest presentation was on the culture of India. Next week is Independence Day for India. So this a South Asian organization, Agraj Seva Kendra, students took the visitors on a journey through India, showcasing geography, the foods of India, clothing of India, and landmarks throughout India. So it was very interesting. The students did an amazing job. Their next open house is September 1st. And if you are into baseball, the annual vintage baseball game is on September 21st. So mark your calendars for Dye Farm. And something that I learned recently in the spirit of the farmers market that's happening at the library this summer, I learned that Farmer Owls has been farming in Monroe for 100 years, 1924 to 2024. So congratulations to them. I know we're so fortunate here in Monroe. We have so many amazing farms and all the produce. I know my family, we've been living off of everything from the farms around here. We have what we call Friday farm hopping. So we go from farm to farm and get some of our favorites. So I hope people are, helping our local farms in Monroe. And I happened to be looking at the library website, and I just wanted to share that the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission has a mobile unit. I'm not sure if people are aware of that, but they are coming to the library on Tuesday, August 13th from 9:30 to 3 p.m. And I'm just going to read this. They bring their services to you. Available services include Real ID, registration renewal, and non-driver ID. The mobile unit is wheelchair accessible and will be in the library's parking lot, and appointments are required. So I think this is a great service that we offer, and just wanted to share that, everyone. And
Not here just last month as well, so this is a second visit.
Yes.
In a short period of time.
And again, we always encourage about how wonderful our library is. There's wonderful services throughout there. If you're trying to beat the heat, check out their programming. There's some great events coming up. So that concludes my report.
Mr. Markell.
Just want to say briefly. I'd just like to say briefly, Councilman Siegel mentioned the library. One of the more important things at the library this month is a blood drive on August 29th that doesn't seem important until you need blood. One other thing I'd like to mention is we've heard a lot about bonding and about spending money at this council meeting, and everybody thinks that we just spend taxpayers' money. To make this town a great town, it costs money. The grants we receive is taxpayers' money, but it's there, so it might as well be spent in Monroe. When you see the soccer fields and you see the new baseball fields, it's because we feel it makes this a better community. So we just don't spend money freely. It's something that's thought. We go by the master plan. We go by recommendations. We take in what everybody here is going to say, and we try to put it to the best use. So I just want to say that we've got new volleyball courts. We've got other things that go up all the time, new cricket pitch courts. I don't know if that's what they're called. And pitches. Is that what they are? I'm sorry. This makes Monroe a great town, and it is great to come here and criticize, oh, you're spending money here, you're doing this, you're doing that. But to make this a great town, we have to spend the money so people want to live here. And fortunately, this town is growing, and unfortunately, this town is growing. So it's a double-edged sword. But I just want to say this. That's what makes us a great town. And we don't just frivolously spend money. It's not what we do. It's our money. We pay taxes. And our goal is to make everybody in the town happy, whether you're on the north side, south side, everywhere. So we do take this very seriously. It's not just yes, 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 yes. That's what I had to say today. I was going to say other things, but getting feedback today, this is what hit me. Okay, thank you very much.
Councilman DePiero.
Thank you. I just wanted to start off by saying tomorrow night's National Night Out at Thompson Park. Hopefully, weather permitting, it's good. I know we got forecasts that's not looking good, but 6 to 9 at Thompson Park, the lake area. There's a car show, games, food, fun, and come out and support our first responders. And also, we get to see Alan make some hot dogs. So that's always a treat to see, and it's good for our community to come together. So that's National Night Out. We also have on Saturday, Station 51, 75th anniversary. As the fire commissioner for over 20 years, the men and women, the families, the children, and everybody that comes together at a fire scene or a fire building is just, it's second to none. I mean, the volunteers, the career, and everybody work together. It's a great thing that makes Monroe, as Councilman Markle just said, a great community. And it's 2:00 at Thompson Park. They rented the whole park, and hopefully the weather will hold out. They have a band, 3 bands coming. I know the main band is called the Nerds, so everybody's hopefully coming out and support our local Station 51 volunteers. Bentley Road, We talked about it many times, water and sewer. Can we get an update on the situation for our residents on Bentley Road?
Not changed, is it?
Council President, if I can, and Joe, jump in if you need to. So I think the improvements, as I've mentioned before, are tied to some development that's happening in that area. The requirement of the planning board approval is for, I believe, water and sewer to come as part of that. I believe that project will be moving forward, but we're sort of at the mercy of that project because we don't want to leave anyone behind. That's right in front of it, and that's really the only way to move forward on this at this point, Council President.
Nothing's pretty much
So
changed.
that's the same message as from before.
Right.
Okay, so no, nothing concrete, no progress. I know this developer, I brought to your attention, the same developer and other developers in town. Our Chapter 108 land development on the website. We have still on our website, we refer to Monroe Township Utility Authority. So if you look on our website, I have it right here, Alan, if you need it. I have a hard copy. Anything to do with water and sewer still relates to MTMUA. That was 2011, as one of our residents brought to the attention that there was like 12 million. It was closer to 48 million surplus in 2011. So if this can be corrected in the sense of where it says we get the utility authority on our website. I took this off our website. And also, I just wanted to say, being on the Shade Tree liaison, we have to collect the money and try to work with all developers on collecting our funds as they go out and do their job as far as building the project as per plan, along with our township engineer, make sure that they're getting paid to do the inspections and escrows, and along with our clerk's office to make sure the bonds are in place. So I just ask that this would be updated and corrected as to MTUD. Also, I wanted to ask about the funds from the state in reference to 405 Spotswood Gravel Hill Road. We talked about receiving approximately $2.5 million from the state. Did we receive that money yet?
So I think you're confusing two different things. So we got, I believe, we got two different grants from the state. We got, I believe, $2.5 million last year for the police station, and then we got $2.5 million associated with open space acquisition. 2.3 of that 2.5 million, as I've explained before, is associated with the Barnes farm purchase, and 200,000 of that will be moved over to the 405 Spotswood Gravel Hill Road. The county gave us $2 million for the Barnes acquisition to fully fund that, along with the state, and an additional $1.1 million for the 405 Spotswood Gravel Hill Road. So we have a total of $1.2 million for the Spotswood Gravel Hill Road site. The entire project, I believe, was 2.3, so we're bonding approximately 1.1 for it. So that's the lay of the land on those two projects. We have grant approval, I believe, from the state for the police building. For the open space purchases, and I believe the ability to draw down from the police should be coming shortly for that 2.5 million as well, Council President.
Mr.
Thank you. But did we receive the money from the state? Well, I believe it was 2.5 for open space purchases, one being 405 Spotswood Gravel Hill, and we bonded 2.4. We paid 2.3. We bonded 2.4, but we were supposed to receive 2.5 from the state for open space. Did we receive that money?
Right. So I'll try and explain it again. So we did get $2.5 million grant from them. We are working our way through the DCA process to get it put in the SAGE system, and I believe that's been approved. And so we can, when we can draw down the $200,000 that would be associated with the 405 Spotswood Gravel Hill Road, and then we'll be able to draw down the $2.3 million once we have a closing on the Barnes property. So that's exactly where we're at.
Oh, thank you. Alan, you and I were on a committee for buses and transportation, and then COVID came, and a lot of we don't want to bring up those days, but I know the buses situation's a difficult transportation now, and it's unfortunate. A lot of people are not traveling as much, and are we going to have another committee? Are we going to still have a committee for bus and transportation, or is this something that we rely just on, like New Jersey Transit and whoever's left?
I mean, I'll certainly defer to the council and the mayor on that. I think everybody sort of recognizes that the commuting world has changed post-COVID. It's a real challenge. We fought really hard to get a lot of buses coming up and down Applegarth Road, only to see that all sort of fall apart. As many people know, we've had a private carrier joint arrangement between Coach and Academy. They jointly run the line. When New Jersey Transit was created years ago, New Jersey Transit didn't put bus lines where private carriers already had bus lines. So we're kind of stuck with those private carriers. New Jersey Transit won't step in and put them out of business. I think the biggest challenge, as I shared with you, Councilman, is that a lot of these private carriers are going out of business. You see that around the entire state, and it's not a Monroe thing. It's going to be a problem for the entire state, and at that point there would be pressure on New Jersey Transit to step in, because some of these bus lines serve 6 to 15 communities along the way, and communities aren't really set up to do regional service. So it's more of a statewide problem than just ours, and it's also the result of less people using it, and some of the challenges in that case.
Thank you. Walnut Street and Pergola Ave, we had a water main break, and I stopped by. I happened to go past there, and I saw our MTUD guys working there for 2 days, working on that leak that's been going on for months. And our director was there along with supervision, and being in construction most of my life, and watching what these guys work together as a team. And also, we just had a repair done with the help of Mark and his team on Schoolhouse Road with emergency service for a storm drain, repair. When you put something together like this and you work together, as Councilman Markle said before, he said, listen, this is a great community. When you do stuff like that and you don't interfere with the water service to our residents, and you manage to fix it in-house, we're saving an incredible amount of money, especially with 90-degree plus that these guys are working through the day and night to make sure that when you turn the spigot on, it works, and every time you flush the toilet, it makes its way to Saraville. So I gotta tell you, it's just hats off to Joe and your team, and I please let everybody know at DPW as well. Say thank you again, and thank you for fixing that water main. As a resident contacted me, and I asked them to reach out to you, and you did. He called me and thanked us as well to say thank you for Monroe stepping up and doing that repair. I attended the Board of Ed, had a meeting with our Senate and Assembly Finance Committee, and it was very interesting. Public wasn't, it's not a meeting that you're allowed to ask questions and speak, but you can send emails. And the chair who ran the meeting, she did a good job. And, our representatives basically said, in a nutshell, that we're at our cap for state aid, which is approximately 12 point something million at our cap. When other communities, they mentioned a community like Hamilton, who receives 135 million in state aid, which two of the representatives, that's their hometowns, they brought that up, and they also said, out of the 12 million and change, 300,000 was earmarked for full-day kindergarten. It's not a lot of money to put the improvements that are needed in the 3 schools, but I would think, and hopefully maybe we can get the representatives to come to a council meeting where our residents can ask questions, and we can also get answers in reference to how can we what do we have to do in order to change this capital state aid? Because the equalization came up, and they said there was only two towns, Cranberry and our town, that does not get equalization tax. So they brought that up, and they also said, we need your support, your ideas to help us get you guys more money. So it might be a good idea to invite them here and see what we can do. Maybe they can help us help the Board of Ed and our residents and our taxpayers. The other thing that I wanted to say about the Board of Ed, the golf range, I passed it quite a bit, and I wonder, why are we spending money on cutting the grass and maintaining it and taking care of that facility? I mean, there's other things. They could be farming it to a farmer and where you don't have to maintain it. They could be possibly, looking at a solar farm in reference. I know they just put they put some money into the building to make it offices. At 3:30, I saw 3 cars, 3 workers come out of there and 3 cars leave. So it might be something that we could make a suggestion to help them out in the sense of maybe they can put that land to use. It's 16 acres of upland, but maybe they can utilize that land where they don't have to spend money to maintain it. Also, I would suggest on the 2024 that our engineer said, I didn't receive any nixels as far as what's going on with paving or concrete work. It would probably be a good idea if we could let our residents know what's going on. We did do Michael Romero and Michael Court. I went down there yesterday after the rain. Job looked really nice. They did a great job. We did have a little hang up on the first day, and Mark and I spoke about it. There was some asphalt that got, he said all the way to Route 18 that there was a trail. But, it just might be a good idea for the future if we can let our residents know what's going on with the paving and also the concrete work. And another project, Mounts Mill and Old Bridge Englishtown Road. It's a ghost town out there. I haven't seen a contractor there in probably 2 months. Don't know what's going on. I know the telephone poles are in the same spot that they were for 40 years. So I don't know what's holding up the project, but the restoration and everything along the line, there's cones, barrels all over the place, and schools coming. So the traffic light is not even in place. There's quite a bit of work that needs to get done, and the winter's coming. So I would ask maybe we can get our engineer to find out what's going on with that project and update us and push to get it done. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen a contractor out there. And the last thing I want to say, I attended the planning board meeting. I watched the people on the planning board, from our secretary and people on the board, look at these screens behind me. It might be a good idea if we can put two stands out here with screens that the people on the board can look at, so they don't have to keep looking back at these screens over their head. I know I had a lot to do with getting these screens here, and I thank you for putting it in the budget and getting it done. But it might be a good idea to put 2 more screens for the board members so they can see what's on the board. But I want to say it was definitely a plus, and I want to say thank you for that. That's it. That's all I have.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Van Zura.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
Again, almost everything I was going to say has already been said. National Night Out tomorrow. I believe it's going to be a game time or a daytime decision. So check your sites, and they'll announce whether it'll go forward or not. Hopefully the weather will stay, it won't be so bad, but it's not looking promising, I guess. So check and see. Number 2, always great to see this Police Youth Academy that was here earlier this evening. I think that's one of the great things in our town, and what's always good about it is it's the youth. It's our future. It's the kids that are going to be moving forward. So I think that's a great thing. I also noticed the starting on the paving of the roads. They were looking pretty good. I go by there all the time, and looks like they did a pretty good job. And funny that, you mentioned Farmer Al's, because and the summertime comes, I feel like I live there every Sunday. I go over there. They have I'm not comparing it to the farm stands in town, which I think are also very, very good. But Farmer Al's has both his white and his bicorn. It's among the sweetest corn that I've ever had. It's delicious. I also want to comment on the Volunteer Fire Company having their event on Saturday. I lived in this town just about 5 years, and it was exactly 1 month before 9/11, August 11th of 2001. I'll never forget. It was one of those days like we had in the last week where it was about 95 degrees and humid, and the storm came in around 4 o'clock. Lightning struck. I heard a sizzling sound, and my house got struck by lightning. The fire department was there in about 5 minutes. And it turns out my dryer had caught fire, and they came in there. They did the most professional job. My kids were home. My family was home. We had a dog in the house. They did everything that they could. They got the fire out in probably record time. I'm telling you, I heard the sizzle. I smelled something. I smelled smoke. We didn't know where it was coming from. I look out my back deck and I look to the right. There's literally flames coming out from where the dryer vent was. But all I know is it was fire coming out of the house. Call 911. We get out of there. These guys were there. They did the most professional job that you could imagine. They did. I mean, listen, there was stuff that had to get done. Every little thing that was later taken care of by the insurance and stuff. But they were there. We didn't even have to move out overnight. So I have a strong affinity, and that was Volunteer Fire Company #1 that came and did that. So I appreciate them immensely. You don't realize it. You sometimes take these things for granted, but when you need them, they're there. And we have great fire companies. I'm not just going to single them out because we have different fire companies in our town, and they all do a great job, and they're out there when you need them. So don't forget about them. And I have a great appreciation for them. It's their 75th anniversary. And, especially the volunteers who don't get paid. It just adds a little extra something to it. But every contact I've had with them, they've been nothing but professional. So I just want to say thank you to them for their service to the town. And other than that, I don't have a whole lot else. I'm just going to say briefly on, with the grants, with the rec, I'm all for all the rec, okay? And we've had a lot of grants recently. This is the first one for baseball, softball in a pretty long time. So it could just be that this one works out with the amount that they have. It doesn't mean because we're accepting this that we're going to ignore cricket and we're going to ignore other things. This is a town this is our facilities for all the people in our town. And as we know, as things change and there's demand for other things, these other things will be considered. So we've done what we can. This isn't like, that's it. There's nothing else here. We will continue to move forward. Our master plan's calling for other things. We're going to eventually we will have our cricket fields and things in addition to what we have. And you guys know it, and I very much support all that stuff and by the way, we happen to have a very good cricket team in our town too, which I know. So guys, I wish you the best. It's still summertime. Keep your eyes out for little kids running around, not paying attention. Keep them safe, and thank you for your time.
My pleasure. And before I ask our mayor to please address this again, I wanted to just comment that I was told last week that there are folks expecting pickleball and cricket to become Olympic sports over the next 10 years. Yes, and I see hands being raised in the audience. So, Mr. Mayor, it is a pleasure as always to ask you to share some words with us.
Thank you, Madam Council President. Thank you for the time. And we've heard the word brief. I assure you, I will. This will probably be one of the quickest reports I have. I do want to officially just say, in regards to the National Night Out, we are on watch for a storm. So please, before you commit to going to Thompson Park, please check our website, Facebook page, Instagram. All information will be on there. Please look out for that. I also just a quick comment regarding the fire anniversary celebration on Saturday. This is important for me as the son of a volunteer firefighter who was for over 45 years. This is an exciting time in Monroe Township to celebrate such a worthy group of individuals. And we talk about public safety. Obviously, we always have to include our firefighters as well. And the parade starts at 12 o'clock at Veterans Park on Avenue K and will meander its way down to Thompson Park for the larger festival. Just two upcoming events of note, Mayor's Wellness, which is obviously here to promote exercise and good health for the citizens of Monroe. August 20th, movement and dance class for adults with special needs. And August 28th, a meditation class. Please look online for information in regards to that. I believe those two events are going to be held at the library. And then finally, September 14th of note is our next shredding event for paper at our recycling center from 8 a.m. to 11:45. So far, every event that we've had for paper shredding has resulted in a full truck. So a lot of people protecting their information, which is crucial in these days for identity theft. Finally, as a reminder, the township is now both on Instagram and Nextdoor as we certainly continue to enhance trying to get information to the residents of Monroe. And I promised brief, and I am done.
You delivered brief. This good. Folks, we're going to move to the public comment minute, sir. Just give me a minute, please. We're going to move to the public comment section of our meeting. I am going to remind everyone, I'm delighted to see all of you here. Why do I sense an issue of particular concern to many of you? So just reminders, when we open it by motion of the council, you are welcome to come and address the council. You have 5 minutes. That's a pretty hard 5 minutes. You have the time to speak, and then someone else's turn it is to speak. It is our goal. We enjoy having people come and address us, so certainly everyone is welcome. I am going to ask for a motion to open the public comment section.
Motion.
May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Therefore, I am going to ask that you come forward. But you're going to be out of your seat too fast. Your name and address for our records, please. And then your 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. I'm
Sir.
sorry for being anxious.
That's not an apology. Is not necessary. I needed to follow procedure or they'll throw me out of the room. Okay.
Okay. Frank Steinhauser, 19 Oliver Street. Been in town since 1985 on Oliver Street. So my question is directed to the engineer.
You directed me and I will
I'm sorry.
do your public comment, please. Go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, and I appreciate the improvements that have just started on Forest Park Terrace. So my question is that going to be inclusive to the project that had been approved last November for Oliver Street on the extension of the curb line, which was, they came out and marked it, and then it was delayed because I was advised by engineering that they were going to look further into the project and possibly extend the curb line on Oliver Street into Beluccio Estates, extending down to Applegate. And also, after that, a couple of months after that, I brought to your attention the water problem after heavy rain on Applegate between Oliver and Baker. Shortly after that discussion with you, I had shown you pictures at a meeting. Excuse me. Shortly after that, they came out and they marked the area, but then nothing reciprocated after that. So my question is, the work that's being done on Forest Park, are these two projects inclusive of that? And if not, where are we on those two additional projects?
Council President, this work is not part of the Forest Park Terrace project. Forest Park Terrace is part of our 2024 road paving project. With regard to the water problem, I know I met with our Public Works Department. They went out and marked it. I'll have to follow up with them to see, why it wasn't done or what happened. I'm not sure. I'll follow up with them on that. As far as a curb extension on Oliver Street, there's no plans to do any curb extension on Oliver Street at this time. Some of those areas are challenging with the existing homes once you get into trying to put in curbing out there. It is a challenge. But as of right now, there's no project plan to put curbing on Oliver Street.
Okay, so, and the last thing is about the facility that you want to put at James Monroe Park for the baseball, which is great. I'm all for the baseball. My only concern is, and I've been going down there since there again, 1987 when my boys were playing, and till today, is it's a very cramped area. We have 5 fields in there, and I do walk the area all the time when they're there, and it is surrounded by wetlands. And I'm just concerned about the spacing for the additional building that you want to put in. You had asked about possible other locations, and what came to mind right away was the area at Avenue K where the splash park is. Past the splash park, you have all that open area. I don't know if it's dedicated or if it's open space, you can't touch it, but that might be an area that you may want to consider for that. Because like I said, the area at James Monroe Park with the fields there, parking is tough. We do have tremendous tournaments with people from all over the state come there to play. And I just don't know how they're going to be able to fit in that facility, which should be state of the art for our township kids. And that was that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Please, I see hands and people. Please come forward. Your name and address for our records. Sir.
Thank you, Council, Madam President. And my name is Anjan Karnati. I live in 11 Preservation Drive, Southfield Estate.
Thank you.
And I am here to represent, on behalf of my neighborhood. And we are looking for the open space that is Ordinance 8, 2024-19, open space improvements, right? The open space improvements, actually, we are looking, if you could able to do in south side, that will be more useful, more of the Indian community and more of the Asian community, because we don't have I moved in 2009, almost 15 years. Really, it is very hard to go to recreation center. It takes 40 minutes, 30 minutes one way coming back. So to make it optimize the utilization of the residents' time, and if you could able to build south sides, because I know anyway you are planning this one. I don't know how this came in, because what is the priority? Do we need to represent anything to recreation committee first in order to get the improvement south side? I know councils have said taxpayer money, it is not yes, no, like that. Definitely you are going to take our opinions, our residents' opinion, Monroe residents' opinion, based on the priority and based on the importance, based on the use of, our public, Monroe public. If you could consider south side, that would be great, because we could use it, our children can use it, and future can be useful. So just to take it into consideration and listen to public, whatever the best for Monroe Township. I know Monroe Township is great, but make it great more again, best of use of more population. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir. Those chairs don't move easily.
Right.
Your name and address for our records, please, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Sudhir Mamdapur. I live at 271 Morning Glory Drive, Monroe Manor community. I'm here to express some of our concerns from our community, Monroe Manor, and also the surrounding communities about the upcoming project, the distribution center or the warehouse, Monroe Warehouse, by Butcher Road and Disbrow Hill.
The one that is now currently before the planning board.
That's correct, yeah. So we have some concerns actually about the location of the warehouse or the distribution center, not necessarily the project itself.
Council President,
I know
just
I
want to
need
defer
to-
to the council,
I
and
wanna clarify this, right.
These are great questions, but
we
Township
can't-
Attorney, if I can just check with you and the
Check whether or
Township
not
Engineer,
we can entertain this here.
because it's an active planning board application. Would the planning board be the only place where you could give testimony that would be relevant on the record in order to affect the decision of the planning board?
So, first, I haven't heard what he has to say yet, so
Okay.
I'd probably like to hear what he has to say first. But I'll just maybe Alan, the appropriate thing is that this
function, right.
Anything you say here doesn't become part of the record before the planning board. This council doesn't have any ability to add to the record before the planning board, nor do they. There's a council representative on the planning board, but other than that, they really the only thing the planning board is allowed to consider is what occurs before the planning board and what's presented to the planning board for as evidence. So I just wanted with that caveat, that I think that's the question.
And that is just wanted to highlight that is the important place to have your voice heard on the record. That's
okay. But
folks, please. We are trying to make sure that we give you accurate information and that your expectations fall within what the law says. It is the planning board who will make the decision on that application. That is where that decision gets made. It does not get made here. So it isn't. So you, as far as you,
so I've said what I said. I'm sorry, ma'am. There's only one person.
Only one person at a time.
That's about. But that having been said,
But I can continue though, right? I just take 2 minutes.
No,
please.
of course you may continue.
Thank
Just
you.
be aware, we are not the decision maker.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So the concerns really are about traffic congestion and safety, because we understand, the roads are not going to be widened. It's in wetlands area and so forth. We have a lot of other detailed points which we'll share during the planning board meeting, but I just want to highlight some.
No complaint, just.
Yeah, absolutely. Some environmental concerns, that we have with respect to the location that's chosen, the quality of life that we impacted because of this project, the infrastructure strain that it's going to have because we have very narrow roads there. There are a lot of school buses going back and forth. We have more than 3,000 homes in that area that will be impacted actually because of this location. And then lack of public consultation. We have not been consulted actually for this project at all. I don't know what the process is, but it is predominantly in a residential area that is going to impact our lives heavily actually because of the traffic and other safety concerns. So those are the points I just want to put across so that, we can, discuss further, during the planning board meeting and other forums that are presented to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next person, please. Your name and address for our records, please.
Claudette Klimczak, 25 Wisteria Court in Monroe Place. I'm also here about the warehouse, but it's just a statement, no questions. So my name is Claudette Klimczak, and I'm here representing my community and neighboring communities to ensure the Township Council is aware that many township residents are objecting to the building of the proposed warehouse and office space on Butcher Road and North Disbrow Hill Road by Federal Business Centers. While we recognize the decision on the warehouse application lies with the Township Planning Board, we wanted to ensure this council was aware of the objections from many residents across many communities in Monroe, so a few of us came here tonight to deliver the message. Can we have a show of hands as to who's here to deliver the message? We are concerned over safety, traffic, pollution, increased noise, decreased property values, and most important, the quality and safety of our children's lives who live in that area. We started a petition against the building of the warehouse on July 22nd, and to date, we have over 1,000 residents who have signed the petition. We continue to grow these numbers every day as we continue to spread the word throughout the town. This is extremely important matter to us. It is so important that we are continuing to hold meetings across communities, ensuring we are educating and recruiting as many township residents as possible in expressing their objections to the warehouse and preferably build a recreation facility or park. As for the Township Planning Board, many residents attended the July 25th meeting where we had standing room only with residents who were there to object the warehouse being built. Since the meeting ran long and not everyone was able to speak, a second meeting was scheduled for September 26th. You can rest assured we will be there to continue voicing our objections loud and clear to object the building of the warehouse in hopes the planning board denies the application. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Next person, please.
Prakash Parab, 33 Dana Drive. State highway development is it is not a development, it is a state highway destruction of surroundings. Look at Route 18, Walmart, high density housing, no place for the children to play. That is going to happen on Route 33. It is a state development highway development, but I call it highway development surrounding destruction. The Butcher Road is so narrow, the trucks cannot turn right or left from Route 33. So they are going to come straight from exit 8A, right through the Applegarth and go straight to the Butcher Road. So I consider council or whatever who are represented on this, until those roads are widened, the intersection of Butcher Road and Route 33 is widened and made perfect. This shouldn't be even approved. It is going to impact the ecology there. It's a green land, farmland, surrounded by wetlands. It's going to destroy the ecosystem surrounding housing and so forth. The highway development next to highway have commercial area, residential area, warehouses. What? Warehouses and commercial in residential development? I don't even thought of it. Let us have commercial areas, malls and all. It's okay. Let us have warehouses in separate area. That's okay. Combining and cooking everything together, I know it is not a council or state. It is coming all the way from the state. But I request for the future of our New Jersey, stop this state highway and surrounding. It is not a development of the highway. It is a destruction of the surrounding. Sorry to hear that. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Sir.
Madam President, my name is Murali Nandigama. I live in 24 Hyacinth Lane, Monroe Township.
Thank you, sir.
I have a couple of points to make.
Sure.
Last year, I paid $12,900 as my property taxes. None of my kids go to high schools or middle schools here. They're all college-going kids. I love this place. I moved into Monroe from Princeton 4 years ago for the greenery and the goodness of this place. However, this year my taxes have raised to 13,500 something, new assessment. No problem, we will pay for the betterment of the township. However, when in front of my property, along with approximately 300 households where we live, there is a warehouse coming. I know we will talk to the planning council, but I have a complaint or a disappointment around the process around that discussion. We have not received any notification that that was going to be discussed in the planning council. It's a pure happenstance that we received a WhatsApp forward from somebody and we mobilized to come and attend the planning council meeting to put our objections to that plan. And some of the members present here in the council have asked highly common sense and sensible questions to that proposal that day, thankfully, and they haven't received a clear answer. They haven't received a reasonable answer. I thank the council members who applied common sense to ask questions. How can a 60-foot tall container can take a turn from 33 to Butcher Road? And I also heard Mr. Mayor had a strong position to ban heavy trucks to go on the Applegarth when he was young, or in the past. I heard that through grapevine in our common chats, that he was a proponent of not having large trucks go on the Applegarth Road because there are schools. If that is the case, the Butcher Road is much smaller. It's like less than 1/3 wide compared to the station road. There is no way a 60-foot truck can turn and come back from the warehouse through that road. We understand it's a highway development region. Yes, they can have anything there, but they cannot go through the narrow roads to whatever is the warehouse that they're planning to build. We strongly want to object. We understand this is not the place, and we will come in strength and numbers on the 26th to object. But I just wanted to mention my disappointment, express my disappointment. There was no clarity and openness in communicating such a significant effort is going to be approved by Planning Council that day. It was a sheer luck, dumb luck of the residents there that we get to know about that, right? As a resident who contributes reasonable amount of money for the welfare of my township and for my academics, of the 56% of the taxes I pay go to the schools I hear. I don't have my kids going to schools, I repeat, but I see so many young children in our area, and in the south side of the Monroe Township, we don't have a playground. We don't have a playground anywhere on the side of outside. And if you have 3 million and if some change remains out of that, I would humbly request you to buy that property and make it a children's park. It's a landlocked area. You know, please take it and make it a children's. It's a beautiful place. It's a nice ecological system, and it's a shame they want to destroy that and put a wall and break the water flow. There are many things the council members are more acquainted with. They have seen the detailed exceptions they are asking. They're asking for 1 million exceptions to build in that place. So they don't have an organic plan to build a efficient warehouse in that place, logically speaking. We will object. I'm not objecting for that here, but we are requesting, Mr. Mayor, if truck starts coming from 8A on the Applegarth, that's the only logical way for a 60-foot truck to come into the Butcher Road. They cannot take a right turn on the 33 to Butcher Road. The signal is there for 14 seconds or 15 seconds. A single truck cannot take a turn. It will become a traffic nightmare. Monroe Manor or Monroe Place residents will not have a way to come onto the Butcher Road to exit for our office.
Thank you, sir.
So please consider those things.
Hello, my name is Gyanesh Masla, 283 Morning Glory Drive address.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
So I am also addressing the same concern for the warehouse and just trying to put some more points. I know we'll be coming to the planning board, but my thing is like we should look at Cranberry. Like if I drive on 130, right, I can see a zone with it says a board which says Cranberry Industrial Zone. So why can't Monroe has something which is more only for warehouses? Like Cranberry, if you see, only one side is residence and one side is all warehouses. So as a township, I request that we should also have something like that where it should not be combined with residence communities. Okay. So maybe we can update the master plan to do that. So that way we have only warehouse on one side and all the residences on the other side. The next question I have is on the ordinance 08/2024-019, the improvements to the James Monroe Park. I know there is a indoor facility for the baseball coming up, which is good, but I want to know, like Ms. Vander said, like we will be having cricket fields and pickleball courts. I don't know what's the schedule for that, like when the pickleball courts are coming up. I play pickleball a lot, so I'll be looking forward for it. My question was like, we have money which is coming up, right? I have coming to a lot of meetings before for the master plan updation when we did the public input and all that. I know that there's no money for the community center, but building like a small park, which like a 1 mile loop or a 1 mile walking loop or a bicycle loop, it doesn't cost much money. We already have place like opposite to Percy's, like on New England Road. We can just use that, make it like a loop, right? I know that there are some improvements which are happening for the community garden. We got some money for that, which is good. But again, the park is not going to be enough because right now I think they have like
around 2,000 to 5,000 families if you combine like Monroe Manor, Gateway, everybody. So that park, just expanding this community garden will not help. We need something where people can actually at least walk. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, that we can do small improvements, have a plan, do something small. Okay, have a plan for the community center. When the funds we get, we can do that, but at least start small and do something as we go. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your remarks.
My name is Shrikant Melam. I live in 24 Wisteria Court, Monroe, part of Monroe Place community. Thank you so much, Madam President and Honorable Council members, for giving me this opportunity.
It is our pleasure.
So I would like to say something again. Fellow residents ask for, there is no park on south sides. That is correct. I moved to Monroe 4 years ago. I'm not really sure how planning board approved my community or any other community without a playground at all. And even they know that there is no public playground also. If I do some math in my mind, we have 90 homes, next to me like 50 more homes. If I combine couple of communities within like 1/4 mile, there are more than 1,000 families. On behalf of my community, I will invite all of you to come to my community any summer day between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock and see where my community children are playing. More than 150 to 200 kids, including 2 of mine, plays on the community roads where cars and bikes are traveling. If one of you agree that it is fair for those kids to play on road, we will not request any park again, Madam President. That is my argument one. And as my fellow resident said, we paid, at least I paid $12,600 as tax last year. For my surprise, 3 days ago, I received a letter saying this year tax is $13,050, which is 4 times more than my friend paying in Denver, 3 times more than my friend paying in Atlanta, with a lot of parks and facilities. They literally play jokes on me for living in New Jersey for paying this much tax, not having any facilities, right? Other than just sending maybe sad smileys, I couldn't answer anything or give any justice why I'm paying this much tax plus income tax with no facilities here. So our sincere request is to, rather than building shopping mall or warehouse or some commercial, our request is to please put a park there and do justice to the kids. I'm not asking anything for myself. I'm not asking for any adult here. I know I am part of small running community within our group. We run on concrete pavers because we don't have a park. That's okay. As an adult, I can deal with it. But at least for the kids, for the future of this township, please do justice and try to build a park rather than coming up with a warehouse or shopping mall, any other commercial. I know township get a lot of money with these improvements, but we are also paying tax, right? My community is paying $1 million tax. If I combine all these 1,000 families, I'm pretty sure they're paying a lot of tax. And again, we are not sure for what we are paying that much tax. Imagine last year, July 4th, this year, July 4th, to take my kid for, firecrackers, we need to travel like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We don't have a park. Both of my kids, I know there are 150 kids I'm talking, but both of my kids genuinely does not have an experience playing on a swing or a slider, which is not fair, ma'am, which is not fair. The only reason we bought homes here for our children, if they don't have any facilities, I don't see any reasoning living here. I know because of job, whatever, we are living here, but not to full heart. So on behalf of that, I would request everyone in this planning board, please build us park or do something for those kids, if not for adults. That will be a great. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
My name is Dennis Liu. I live at 31 Beechwood Drive. I'm also part of the same community. My perspective is actually I live at the house that's going to be the most directly impacted. I see the intersection from my bedroom window. I've been living there for 4 years, and I've seen work from home during COVID and kind of back to the office now. But that's my office space, that's my bedroom, and I face that intersection on a regular basis. I've seen a lot of accidents there. The speed limit's, 35, 45, but no one follows that because it's a straight road. People zoom up and down that road. I've seen someone hit a light pole speeding, and just adding that the trucks turning in there, that's going to add a lot more accidents there. From my perspective, I was raised in East Brunswick. I've been Middlesex County from elementary school, Irwin Elementary School. Both the middle schools there, that weird.
Hammersholt and Churchill, yes.
Yes, Hammersholt Churchill. I went to EB High School. College was Rutgers, undergrad. My master's was also Rutgers. I've been in Jersey for a long time, I recently moved back to Monroe during COVID, and it's one of the things I've seen as a kid growing up in East Brunswick and Middlesex was there's a lot more parks and a lot of open space. And my thought on this is maybe it's time to revisit some of these zones, the zoning for the area along 33. I'm sure those were set up a while ago. In the more recent past, we've had a lot of developments built there, a lot of residential, a lot of townhouses built up and down Butcher and Applegarth along 33. We have a lot of those toll houses being built along 33. And while I get the understanding and the need to have like an HD development zone along 33, we should probably kind of go back and visit the ones that are closer to the residential areas, because I'm sure those were developed and they were purchased by the companies way before it was a residential impact. It was really an idea and a plan to kind of build out that area. And at this point, maybe it's time to revisit some of these zoning, I guess, however it's called, in certain areas where there's a lot more residents now. I don't have kids. I live in the neighborhood, and there's, like what my neighbors say, there's a lot of kids that are forced to just play in the street. Cars go from the Wawa, they cut through and just make left and right turns. Cars zoom up and down Butcher on a constant basis. There's this one guy who just revs his car every night. I don't know where he goes at 9 o'clock, but he just revs it and everyone hears it, So when you add these trucks in, I'm going to be hearing it every day. They say like 11 trucks per hour, you can hear, because right now you have the delivery trucks, they boom, boom, boom. They do the engine braking. It's just a racket. It's not going to be safe. The kids are going to be, dodging cars. The buses are going to be coming back and forth. And there's already a lot of traffic there. I go to the office twice a week. I work at King of Prussia. So I make an hour and a half commute, 2 or 3 times a week. And I get stuck at that traffic light every morning during rush hour. And it's already bad as it is. I can't imagine how much worse it'll be when you add trucks in there. It would take 15, 16 seconds to go from start to left turn. And that little runway for the left turn, right turn, and straight is a very short amount of space. So you have 1 truck holding up, 2 trucks holding up, people are going to be lined up all the way down Butcher. So, I guess I wasn't really planning on speaking, so I'm kind of rambling. But my thought was really just, maybe from a different perspective, is to kind of revisit some of the zoning where there's a lot more residential houses, communities being built. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Srinivas. I'm from 3 Beechwood Drive, Monroe Place, very similar to where everybody else has talked about. Couple of things. First of all, I didn't plan to come here and speak and talk about things, but, listening everybody say, I also wanted to share the concern, because we also know that the planning committee is a place we all have to share this. But I hope the council members understand how disturbed and concerned we are about this development of having a warehouse, that we are speaking here in a place to make all the members in the council to be aware of, what's going on and how we can make everybody aware and point in places we all can share and, make you all aware of this. Couple of things. One, definitely the warehouse, which is coming up. It's disturbing, and it would impact environment, it would impact traffic, impact how we are living, a quiet place, which we moved in first place. And second, we want to request if we can have a park for kids, as Srikant put up in very nicely, how kids are playing in street. And we thought that's how they're going to play. And seeing that we're doing development in different areas outside of 33rd on this side on Butcher Road, there's no park. We don't have any park. Our kids don't, if they have to go towards the garden, which is there next to arbors, which is like, crossing the road and going there. So we have to take them if we have to take them to any park. Any park, we have to drive them there. So it's taking time from our place and going and taking them to that particular place to play. And that's not fair for them. We have to restrict them. We have to carpool. We have to plan and take them. And kids want to play whenever they want to play, especially in summer and so. So having something as close as the warehouse area, which can be used for park, would be great for our community on this side of the Butcher Road from 33rd. And that's a request I want to put forward, saying, that area can be used for betterment of the community rather than destroying property values and, other things on that side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. 1 second.
Can you get that microphone down? Or you're going to stand.
Yeah.
Your name and address, please.
Okay, so hi, my name is Aditi Vadakane and I live in 15 Clover Lane. So I'm here for the same reason. If in my opinion, me and my friends and lots of people, kids in my community, it would be really, really helpful and fun to have a playground because there's not much near us. We've had this Yes Field and we have many kids in this community. We have different groups and they play, right? So if one group comes to play, the other group doesn't play. And it would be really, really, really nice to have a playground or a fun center for all of us to play. It would be really considering than a warehouse. I understand it's your opinion that a warehouse would be helpful. I mean, in your opinion, but in my opinion, I don't think we need the warehouse because first, we can get late for school, and I've already got many late, but much traffic will be there and it causes many accidents and it's not good. So it also, I would want a playground and all and a fun center. Me and my friends and everyone there, the kids will really like it. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Young lady, what grade in the school are you in?
I'm going to 5th grade.
5th grade. Thank you. We expect to see you if you can leave. Mr. Gunkelman, are you joining us again?
George Gunkelman, 5 Kettle Court. I want to thank the administration and the police for the foresight in these programs to reduce car theft. Unfortunately, I've been hearing that there have been quite a few breakthroughs. That's anecdotal. I don't know if it's accurate. No one included in their reports tonight what's been going on, but I've heard there have been some home break-ins to access keys, the cars that were in the driveway that they wanted, and et cetera. So, anything that could step that up. And along those lines, JCP&L's performance on streetlights. One of the people that was anecdotally telling me about the experience on their street said it's not surprising. He's been waiting for 6 months to a year for JCP&L to get the street lighting fixed. And, the dark street makes it an easier target for him or a more interesting target. I don't quite understand how their minds work, but we know more or less. And the format of what people have described is exactly what the police described to us in these community security meetings. It's sort of like clockwork along the lines that they predict is happening. So the license plates readers are obviously helping, but we're still having issues apparently, and I'm hoping we can find more ways and maybe do whatever we can to jack up JCP&L. Not a particularly appropriate phrase, but influence them. Maybe our Assemblyman D'Angelo has some juice with them. He's big in the electricians union. anything we can do to help that situation, because if they're breaking into homes to get houses, it's going to end badly eventually. Some of these homes have people with guns. Some of the people who are breaking in have guns. It's just frightening to think about how it could play out if we can't reduce the amount of risk that's going on there. Another item I wanted to bring up is when I first moved here in the 80s, the people at the school board had been there, some of them had been there for a while, and they remembered and talked about in their meetings about the Marasco Center, which is the performing arts part of the now middle school, which was passed by presented to the community as something that was going to be available for community use. Over the years, the school board and the school administration has forgotten how that happened. And trying to use it is like trying to steal their children or something. I don't know what the thing is. Most recently, I heard about one of our communities that had booked the Marasco Center only to have the school cancel their booking because they couldn't conform with the hours that they had. This really is a community facility, and the school board has to be a little bit better at making it accessible and cooperating with the community when they want to use it. It's, I appreciate that they manage it and all that sort of thing, but it shouldn't be that difficult for parts of our community to access it. And if they need to be there beyond what the school likes for hours, they have to figure out a way to make it happen. It's just not right. And even with our own cultural arts program, they don't treat the Marasco Center bookings any different from anywhere else. And it should be different because it was the bond issue for it was passed on the presentation that it would be for community access. So whatever we can do to make that happen. The last thing I wanted to request is if there are plans for this 80 by 90 indoor
facility
recreation space, I'd like to know where they are, where I can see them, if they're down in planning or if they're just a draft, if there's something exists that like what was prepared for the community gardens park, whatever's there, I'd like to know where I can see it to look at it. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address us tonight? Seeing and hearing none, I'm going to have a motion, please, to close the public portion of the meeting, please.
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. I'm going to request a motion to adjourn our meeting, please.
So moved.
Thank you. May I second on that motion, and the clerk will call the roll.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel. Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vanzora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
We are adjourned. It's 8:53
Thank you
p.m.
all.